right, everybody, let's get started. I'm not going to tell you what day it is because, at the end of the day, I often will upload the video on a day that I didn't record it. So people always say, well, it's not Thursday. What are you talking about? But today is today. And it's as simple as that, whether you're watching it today or you're watching it today. It's as simple as that. But what we're going to do today is we are going to comment on an episode of The Dividing Line, which, a lot of people like it. Some people don't. All right. Let's get to it. I don't often feel like commenting on The Dividing Line unless it's something that directly involves myself or people that I know. And in this case, it involves somebody that I know. I saw that John Harris. Hold on. Got a little knick-knack, I saw that John Harris had raised the ire of Dr. White because John kind of thought it was strange that Dr. White was going to be debating Corey Mahler of Stone Choir, but he's so far refused to debate Stephen Wolf. So John made some comments on it, and it did not please Dr. White very much at all. And, my opinion on this whole thing is I'd love to see a debate between Dr. White and Stephen Wolf. But if you don't want to debate them, you don't have to debate them. I mean, there's plenty of people I won't debate. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's because I'm scared of them, but because I just don't know that I could control myself with them. You know what I mean? And that would be my number one priority. If I don't think I can control my emotions, I'm not going to do it. Because even if I win, I lose, And so there are some people that I don't think I have the discipline to control my emotions with, so I wouldn't debate them. And then, of course, there's some topics that I don't care about, or at least I don't care about it that much to dedicate, an hour or two to debate on it. And I'm not going to debate that stuff either. I mean, if you're friends of mine and we're hanging out and you want to talk about something that I don't quite care about, I'll talk to you about it. But, to do like an actual thing and make a big to-do about it, I'm probably not going to do it. So at the end of the day, I'd love to see a debate, I could think of various topics, but if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. I mean, it's no big deal to me, no skin off my back. But anyway, but Dr. White took exception to this, and I wanted to just analyze this because I thought it was quite kind of humorous, Dr. White's strategy here, and I just wanted to talk about it so you can see kind of what's going on with all this. So let's begin. It's the most recent dividing line called HB 25-1312 in Colorado, Debating Wolf, Purgatory, Marian Dogmas. It's a grab bag episode, and I'm starting at minute 23.
Bible Dingers YouTube page. I will be debating Corey Mahler. Can the Holy Spirit sanctify blacks to the same extent as whites?
What a stupid topic. Anyway, Bible Dingers, yeah, man. I've been talking to the Bible Dingers guy on the side a little bit. Honestly, he seems like a reasonable guy, and he invited me to the debate after party, which I think I'm gonna do. I just have to check my schedule and stuff. I've got a lot going on these days, I've got Little League, baseball. I got all kinds of stuff. And but it's happening later at night, which I think means I could probably swing it. But you got to check with the old assistant. You know what I mean? Which is another thing I call my wife. She's my scheduling assistant, just to be sure. But I'm pretty sure I'll be there.
And again, I've been hearing the same stuff over and over again. Oh, it's ridiculous. You're just giving him exposure. And obviously, these are not people who are pastors, or if they're pastors, they don't know what's going on in their churches, or whatever it might be.
I've said that before too. Given you're raising the notoriety of Corey Mahler a little bit, and all of that. But at the end of the day, my opinion on this is, yes, Stone Choir is very small. But if they're making inroads into your church in Arizona, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, as simple as that. If they're making inroads into your specific church and you want to, talk about them and refute them and all that kind of stuff, I'm not gonna criticize you for that. That's your church. It's your situation. You're different than me. You know what I mean? In my church, Corey Mahler's not making inroads into our church. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's just one of the things that I find very annoying about Dr. White. Extremely annoying. This is annoying. One of the things I find annoying is he feels like he knows everything about your situation. You know what I mean? Obviously, these guys aren't pastors, or if they are, they don't know what's going on in their church. Well, what if they do know what's going on in their church and they know this is not an issue? I mean, what then, Dr. White? No, but he knows better. This is the most important thing. Who cares?
I'm not going to relitigate all that stuff. I gave more than enough of a defense last time, and I didn't hear anybody provide any kind of meaningful rebuttal.
What is the deal with this shirt? How did I just notice this? I watched this before. I've already seen this clip. What is the deal with this shirt? I don't even have words for it. I have words for it, but I am not going to say them.
So there's been a lot of that kind of stuff going on, and one thing's very, very clear and understandable, but very, very clear. Most people do not understand what Mahler and the others, Dumpworth, are teaching. They don't realize that for Mahler, and he says this. I saw something where just this morning I was collecting stuff, and he basically said that the Protevangelium in Genesis 3 and then the Table of the Nations in Genesis 9:25-27 are the two most important prophetic passages in the Old Testament. That's his hermeneutic. That's the lens through which he sees everything else. And so you read the New Testament and you realize the New Testament authors are not functioning on Mahler's interpretation of Romans 9. Never mention it. It's not there.
Most people don't understand this.
And so you see certain things. He doesn't. Why? Because of the hermeneutical methodology he's using. So how would you respond to that? You'll see how I'll respond to that. But how would you respond to that? Well, you're like, well, I just hope I never have to. Well, okay. That's understandable how that would work too. So anyway.
Nobody knows how to respond to this. Nobody! Except for me. I will show you how to respond to this. And if you don't know how to respond to this, well, I don't know what to tell you. Jeez, man.
But what I'm seeing, and it is frustrating, is a bunch of people saying, oh, you'll debate Mahler, but you won't debate Wolf. Right? Seeing it all the time. All over the place. Yeah. So yesterday, John Harris did this. John Harris pulled this off. He said, if you refuse to dialogue with Stephen Wolf, but you'll talk to someone with a cartoon villain reputation, I do kind of question your motives. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate
that. Very, very sarcastic. Very sarcastic. Yeah, I mean, I know what John's saying there. You know what I mean? It is kind of interesting, And again, I'm coming from a place that if you don't want to debate Stephen Wolf, then don't debate Stephen Wolf. I mean, what's the big deal, right? I mean, who cares? But some people care, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, listen, I wouldn't have said anything about this dividing line. In fact, I wouldn't even have watched it, which would have been a real shame because I would have been missing the blessing of this amazing wardrobe choice here. I mean, what is going on? Can anybody explain to me what is going on with this shirt? I mean, I think I know what's going on, but I don't know. This is something. Let's continue.
Now, I don't think John is in leadership anywhere. He probably hasn't had to deal with any of this in his church or anything like that. Maybe he's just, doing his thing. I don't know.
It's pretty funny because, one of the things Dr. White can't stand is when you, assume, what's going on with him or, his motives and stuff like that. He can't stand that. He gets so upset about that. But he has absolutely zero qualms just assuming what's going on with John. You know, it's absolutely amazing to watch a man who is just so inconsistent within a sentence of itself. You know, he just got done saying a couple sentences ago, yeah, you know, yeah, thanks a lot, John, for assuming my motives. And then he immediately assumes what's going on with John, what his whole situation is. He doesn't, I mean, he's not in leadership. He doesn't know what's going on in his church. I mean, he's not dealing with this. And I'm friends with John, obviously. That's why I'm doing this. It's one thing. He wants to talk about, not debating Stephen Wolf in general. Fine, I'm not going to say anything. But I'm friends with John. And I know John. And I know his situation. And Dr. White, you don't know what you're talking about. But he's careful, though. Dr. White is one of these careful guys. And I've done this before, too. So I know what this is about, right? I know what this is about. This is about saying, I want to get my opinion out there, but I know I really don't freaking have an idea what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say, well, I don't know. Yeah, someone who would wear a shirt like this, obviously he's got some things going on wrong at home. I don't know. That's how it goes, right? So I get my opinion out there, but I want to be careful. I don't really know, but I do kind of know. That's how this goes.
But let's make this clear again, and
let's make it clear. Let's go. Let's do it.
Other folks have been, they write to Wolf. Will you debate James White on, what do you want to debate James White on, and blah 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 blah. What has happened over the past, number of months is whenever this comes up, I go, what are we supposed to debate?
What you're about to see, this is my whole premise here. What you're about to see is a man who's been bullied into responding to these debate requests for Stephen Wolf, right? He does not want to. This is my opinion. You ready? I don't know. But this is my opinion. My opinion is he wants no part of debating Stephen Wolf. None. He doesn't want to do it. And I'm not saying he's scared of Stephen Wolf. I'm not saying that. There could be other reasons why he doesn't want to debate Stephen Wolf. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like his face. I have no idea why he doesn't want to debate Stephen Wolf, but he doesn't. But he's been bullied into this to now making some kind of a statement. He can't just say, no, I'm not going to debate Stephen Wolf. He doesn't want to say that, so he wants to pretend like he's going to do it. This is my opinion. Remember, I don't know, but this is my opinion. So what he's going to do is he's going to set the terms in the most obnoxious way that he can, right? He's going to make this as hard as it could possibly be. And the idea being that, nobody's going to even care about this because, we're going to be so much in the, you'll see. It's going to be obnoxious, right? And this approach would have worked, in my opinion, except for one little fact, and that is the fact that he's debating Corey Mailer in a few days on the internet. It's going to be so funny because he's going to set all these terms about how he wants to debate Steven and what he needs to, what needs to be put into place beforehand and all this stuff. Obnoxious. It's totally obnoxious, right? But I would have been cool with it. Like, fine. All right, those are your terms. Except for the fact that he's breaking all of those terms with Corey. This is, you can't make this stuff up. It's absolutely hilarious. So what, in my opinion, I don't know. Remember, I don't know. So don't kill the messenger. I'm just giving you my opinion. This man does not want to debate Stephen Wolf. So he's going to make it as hard as possible. It's going to be like pulling teeth to get this debate to happen. It's not going to happen. That's my opinion. I've said this before, and I'm going to still say it. This is not going to happen. I'm okay with that. He wants to save face.
He's a political philosopher. I'm not. He's not an exegete. He's not a theologian. He's not an apologist. I don't think he reads Greek or Hebrew. And as far as, I've never seen him do a debate.
All right, so here's how this is the framework, right? Okay, so first of all, this is why this is so hard, right, guys? This is the reason. He's a political philosopher, and I'm not. right? So, I mean, obviously, how are we going to debate if he's one of these things and I'm not this thing? By the way, he's not a theologian or an exegete. Does he? He doesn't even know Greek. The man doesn't even know Greek or Hebrew. And I do. I mean, does he even know what a debate is? That's what I want to know. Does he even know what a debate is? He's never debated. So, I mean, right out the gate, like, this is borderline impossible because Stephen's never going to become a theologian or an exegete or know Greek or, Hebrew. I mean, I guess he could, but that's going to take some time, right? So just to set the expectation, this is the first obnoxious qualification. Well, we gotta be the same thing, right? I mean, either I have to turn into a political theorist or he has to turn into a theologian. I mean, I don't see it happening. And we're all sitting here like normal people are sitting here like, what the hell? What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, you're not a political philosopher, okay? And you could find a debate topic. I mean, you would think that this would be not that challenging. I mean, sure, maybe there's some debate topics you wouldn't want to debate with him because you're not on his level there. Like, look, if I'm talking to a chemist, right? I'm not going to debate chemistry with them. Obviously, I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure that there's something we could debate as a recruiting business owner, and a chemist. We don't have a whole lot in common professionally, but I'm sure we could find something. Man.
Who has he debated? So, what does he want to debate? He's taken shots at me about sacralism. He mocks the need for the work of the Spirit to actually bring about any kind of Christian society.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, you think he's taking shots at you on the Holy Spirit and sacralism? There's two ideas right there. There's two ideas right there. What are we going to debate? I mean, sacralism and you just gave us two ideas. How about that?
And so he promotes Christian princes and
there you go.
Sacralism, and he mocks sacralism, but he's promoting sacralism, which is why he mocks it, by the way. So, I mean...
Sacralism. Oh, man.
He mocks presuppositionalism. He mocks theonomy.
There you go. There's five ideas right there.
I know Jeff Durbin would love to debate Stephen Wolfe on theonomy, but I don't think Stephen Wolfe will ever debate Jeff on theonomy. And I debate him on apologetic methodology.
I don't know, Jeff. I mean, it's kind of hard to debate someone when you won't share a platform with them. I don't know. I mean, call me crazy. It's a little hard. I mean, you had the opportunity. You could have debated him at the conference, but no. Not doing that. I can't show up on stage with that man. Are you insane, sir? This is insane. Like, yeah, sure, he debate Jeff, but the opportunity he had to actually talk to him, he didn't take it. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just the most obnoxious thing. Let me ask you this. Why in the world, seriously, why in the world would someone carve out time to debate you on a topic when a few months ago you refused to even talk to him, to even show up? People bought tickets to that conference thinking Jeff would be there, and then he's just like, I'm not coming. I can't share a stage with it. Who would do that? Who would do that? This is all subterfuge, in my opinion. This is all trying to save face, to seem like a big man. But this is akin to the guy who says, "Oh yeah, I could do that if I wanted to. I just don't want to." Yeah, sure. I can make $1 million in like 5 minutes. I just don't want to. Yeah, that's what this is. This is playground stuff. Dr. White loves to talk about the playground. And how we're all in the playground playing in the, like children. But that's what this is. Yeah, I can do that. I just don't want to.
I debate Frank Turek on it. I debate Stephen Wolfe on it. I defend presuppositionalism. In fact, I would defend presuppositionalism as being consistent with, for example, Calvin's, book one of the Institutes.
See, this is the thing. Like, I wouldn't like and this is more of the obnoxious, kind of framing of all this. Like I don't know. Maybe Stephen cares about this very, very deeply. I don't really know. But I'll tell you, just from an outside observer, I wouldn't care to watch a debate about presuppositionalism between Stephen Wolfe and Dr. White. I wouldn't watch it. That's not why I'm interested in what Stephen Wolfe is saying. It just isn't. That's not the reason. That's not the rub. That's not the controversy. That's not the controversy. It's like, yeah, I'll talk to him about all these periphery things. That's not the reason he's known. He's known for the Christian nationalism stuff. He's known for the Christian Prince stuff. He's known for the white evangelicals tweet. That's what he's known for. So, he's like, yeah, I'll debate this, I'll debate that. Like, all this periphery stuff that, again, I'm sure some people would watch. I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't care. It just wouldn't be worth the time for me. You know what I mean? If I want to get information on presuppositionalism versus, classical apologetics, I'll go somewhere else like that. But I mean, I don't though. You know what I mean? I don't. This is it's just obnoxious. This is obnoxious is what this is. This is a way to not debate Stephen while trying to save a little bit of face. It would be a lot easier if you just said, I don't want to debate him. I don't care for him. I don't want to. It'd be a lot easier. A lot easier.
You go, well, yeah, but Calvin wasn't a presuppositionalist. Well, Calvin was dealing in a Christian society. You didn't have secularism at that point in time. But the consistent application of the principles that Calvin enunciates in Book 1 would lead you, as it led Van Til and others, to a presuppositional perspective. That's how you have to deal with this. So I could defend that. That would be easily done. I don't think he's going to do that. He's not an apologist. This is not his field. He can make...
You see this? Yeah, I'll do that debate, but he's not going to do that because it's not his field. He knows what he's doing. He's setting the terms in the most obnoxious way possible. Sure, I mean, of course I'd debate something that he would never debate. Am I the only one seeing this? This is insane.
Statements about, where he sets himself up as the authority, but he's not an authority in these things.
Yeah, you can't talk about it unless you're an authority. You can't talk about it. He makes these statements on presuppositionalism, but he's not even an authority. What?
So, what are we supposed to debate?
I'm not a theologian, but I'll make a statement on the Trinity or something.
He has suggested would simply having a large number of Christian people in a society be enough to form a society? And I'm like, that sounds like a criticism against the postmillennial perspective. You get 70-80% of the people in a society truly regenerate. You get unity in the church. But what would that result in? What does Isaiah 42 say? The coastlands seek after your Torah, after your law. So they're looking for God's law. That would take you back to theonomy. So maybe a way of doing it would be some concrete historical examples. I mean, I am the professor of church history at Grace Bible Theological Seminary. So
look how pleased he is.
How about
what we'll debate is, has there ever been an example of a Christian society in history that's been successful? Like, that's Reddit tier, bro. I mean, come on. He saw that smirk come on his face. He is the professor. He's the professor of church history. But actually, this is
imprisonment
idea, though,
of Fritz Erba
to be fair,
by Lutheran authorities and the execution of Miguel Servetus by Genevan authorities were in error, were wrong, or were were a proper exercise of a Christian prince, since he's into being a Christian prince. Okay, how about that?
That's a decent idea. I mean, it's not. Now, like, I'd prefer something more practical, to be honest, but that's actually a decent idea. I like that one.
I'm doing the debate with Mahler online because otherwise it would be 2026 before I could do it.
here's part two of this is part two of the obnoxious is terms, right? So listen to how he starts this. I'm debating Corey online, right? That's what I'm doing. Otherwise, it would be to 2026.
But I much prefer in person. I really do.
For in person, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm looking at a camera here. It looks like I'm looking at you, but I'm not. I'm not even looking at Rich. Rich is just a little bit over to the right. I've learned over the years to recognize little smiles and stuff like that, and I'm only looking at the periphery, sticking the tongue out, things like that. It's just over the periphery of my vision. It's a skill you develop over the years. Anyway.
My chickens are out there. Sometimes I look at my chickens.
There's something different about being in person. There really is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would rather do it that way. My understanding is that he lives in North Carolina. So, I'm sitting here going, well, it would be well down the road, and maybe a lot of stuff will happen between now and then. But if it's an important enough topic, maybe something could be worked out in the spring next year, about a year from now. And for most people, it's like, no one's even going to be thinking about this a year from now. Well, if it's an important subject, they better be.
So listen to this. This is just absolutely hilarious to me, right? I'm debating Corey on whether black people can be such a weird topic. I'm debating Corey on the internet on whether black people can be sanctified or not. I'm debating Corey on the internet. I'm going to try this again. I'm debating Corey on the internet on whether black people can be sanctified or not, because otherwise it would be in 2026. But I'm sure we could come up with some topic, even though I just told you it's basically impossible. I mean, there's no good topic, really. I mean, he's not a theologian. I am. I'm not a political theorist. He is. I mean, good luck finding a topic. But let's do it in 2026. Let's do that in 2026. So obviously the priority is Corey Mahler on whether black people can be sanctified or not. Because I know that is the hot button topic. I mean, that's what everybody cares about right now. Whether black people can be sanctified by the Holy Spirit of God, the creator of black people. Whether or not they can be sanctified by the Holy Spirit. That is the topic. That is the priority. Everything else must be pushed to 2026. That is good enough. That's important enough. That's widespread enough that we must do it online, even though I much prefer on in-person debates. Corey Mahler takes the priority. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
If it's not the internet where, the big, huge thing of today is forgotten in 6 months, it's no longer even relevant. That's not the kind of stuff I'm really into.
Except for when Corey Mahler's involved. Why is that? Why is that, I wonder? It's a very interesting question.
You're debating Mahler. Yeah, Mahler's repackaging a lot of the same arguments that Dr. Mell, the fourth president of the Southern Baptist Convention, presented in 1844. That means it's been around coming up on 200 years. And so if you're repackaging it and presenting it, then that means it's something that probably needs to be dealt with again.
So this is the explanation. When I heard this, it boggled my mind. It really did. So his mind instantly went to where we all went, where it's like, okay, so you don't want to delay it because why? Like, if you delayed Mahler, it wouldn't happen until 2026, but, whatever, Stephen can wait till 2026. So I guess you're prioritizing Mahler with the black people thing, and why is that? And so he tries to explain it. He says, well, Mahler's repackaging something from 200 years ago in the Southern Baptist Convention. And so clearly that means it needs to be addressed again. And so Steven's perspective, that's just brand new. That's just brand new. Like Steven's perspective, nobody's ever enunciated this stuff before. And so that can wait because, probably, and even the way he said it, he's like, probably like people will forget about it in 6 months anyway. So like, what's the deal? Like, what's the big deal, right? It's not that important if you can't wait 6 months. If you can't wait 6 months, I mean, it's brand new. I mean, everything Steven says is completely novel, totally novel, new. He made it up. But Corey's stuff was in 200 years ago. 200 years ago. So, I mean, clearly it needs to be addressed again. Dr. White, that doesn't make any sense. I know you're trying. I really know you're trying to explain why you would, and save face, right? Because you don't actually have to explain yourself. You could just say, nah, I prefer to talk to Corey. I prefer to talk to Corey. I feel like I could talk to Corey. I don't like Steven. I don't know. Maybe I like Corey's face better than Steven's. Maybe Corey seems like a nicer guy than Steven. Maybe Corey hasn't attacked me as much as Steven. So, that's why I prefer him. I don't really know what the reason is. I mean, you have to decide that. You could have just said that. You actually don't have to even explain it. You actually don't have to respond. You could just say nothing. And John Harris could be like, well, why are you debating Corey and instead of Steven? And you could just say nothing. In fact, this is funny. This is advice I gave to John recently about something. I said something like he was asking about like should he respond to X, Y, Z, or whatever. And I said, you know what? Don't. You don't have to. You don't have to explain yourself. That's the thing. Like you actually don't have to unless you're in court. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But you actually don't have to explain yourself to random people. You just don't. Dr. White doesn't have to explain himself, but he's trying. He wants to save face. He doesn't want people on the internet saying, well, you're scared of Stephen Wolf. Like people say that kind of stuff all the time. You just ignore it. But he's trying. So he's trying. But the problem is it doesn't make any sense what he's saying. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, Corey, is the SBC and this, that. It's very relevant. Yeah, every Reformed father that you all taught us to love for years and years and years, and the reason why we love you, Dr. White, and I still love you, hats off to you, is because you told me to respect the fathers of the church and to listen to what they have to say. Every one of them says the exact same thing that Stephen's saying, but that's not relevant. That can wait to 2026. Well, who cares? The internet's not going to care in 6 months. Oh my goodness, it doesn't make any sense. This makes no sense. This is obnoxious.
So yeah, that's a long-term thing.
Oh yeah, long-term thing.
So I'm just sort of like, well, John, you have no basis for questioning my motives because I've said over and over again, what are we supposed to debate? What are we supposed to debate? And people just shut up. They just get silent. They want to see the fight, but they're not bright enough to realize what they want the fight to be about. It's just as long as people are beating somebody else up.
That's the internet for you. You just explained the internet in a nutshell. There you go.
So I don't know,
And you know what? People will watch this Corey Mailer, Dr. White debate, and I will. I'll watch it myself. And people will watch this, and honestly, it doesn't have anything to do with the topic. They just want to see. They just want to see the chaos. This is going to be a bar fight, and they want to see the bar fight. I mean, that's it. That's why people are watching it.
I'm not sure if it would be worthwhile to do
I don't think that there's anybody that's like, maybe there are some people, but very few people are like, I'm really just not sure if black people can be saved. I don't know why, but the topic of this debate just really, it tickles my funny bone. You know what I mean? I'm not so sure if black people can be sanctified by the Holy Spirit of God, the creator of the universe. I'm not so sure. So we'll see. Let's just hear out the arguments. Maybe they can't be. Maybe they can. I'm not so sure. I'm sitting on the fence of that one. They just want to see the fight, man.
Online that would not actually mean anything. And I think when people have to invest time, energy, and money to make a debate happen, I think that sort of impacts, if it's just a matter of sitting down in front of a... Now, I'm investing a lot of time in this upcoming one. No two ways about it. And it's only 2 hours long. So
he keeps cutting himself off. Like, he's trying to make these arguments about, well, you can't really invest that much time in the online stuff, but I'm investing a lot of time. Oh, maybe it can wait if it's going to be meaningful. But this one, it'll be meaningful even though it's not going to wait. And it's like, he keeps cutting his own arguments down because I think he knows deep down inside. This is my opinion. I don't know. But this is my opinion. I think deep down inside, he knows this makes no sense. What he's saying makes no sense at all. He's trying to defend something that's not defensible. And this is the saddest part of all. You don't have to defend this. You can just do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can debate whoever you want. You can not debate whoever you want. And you don't have to explain it. This is your world. This is your world, boss. You can do whatever you want to do and not do the things you don't want to do. Nobody's going to deny you that. I mean, they may make fun of you because of it, but they're not going to deny you that right.
We're investing time in it. But still, that's what I'd be looking toward. So there's a possibility, Servetus and Fritz Urba.
I like that topic. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Both.
I'd watch that.
One was executed, one died in prison, but they were sacral executions.
Ooh, sacral. That's the worst.
And I would say that was not something that was glorifying to Christ or appropriate. I know why it happened. I do understand it. I understand sacralism. And if you watch the little video that I did on YouTube on Fritz Urba, I make it very clear. I think that the people who imprisoned Fritz Urba and Fritz Urba were all Christians and will someday embrace in heaven. That's hard for a lot of people to understand.
So-called Christians.
But
claims
I believe
to be reformed.
that.
Claims to be reformed.
There's any way around it.
John Calvin claims to be reformed.
Man. Next thing. Shifting gears.
All right, he's done. This is obnoxious. This is obnoxious. This is a man who doesn't want to debate Stephen Wolf, but he doesn't want to also appear like he doesn't want to debate Stephen Wolf. So what he does is he says, well, it can't be online, and it has to be a topic that's meaningful, but good luck. I mean, good luck finding a meaningful topic. Here's one idea. And there's a bunch of other ideas, but, Stephen Wolf's not even a theologian. I mean, how could he? And I'm the historical genius of all time, and Stephen Wolf's not a historian, so there you go. And, listen, and by the way, like, it's got to be a topic that people are going to care about, right? I mean, and you're not going to be forgetting about in 6 months. So good luck with that. And Stephen doesn't even know Greek, so, I mean, how could we even find a topic to discuss in English? Who knows? Who knows? Obnoxious. Absolutely obnoxious. In any case, that's my analysis of this debate challenge. There you go. That's what I got for you. In any case, hope you found this video helpful. God bless. Puro fuego es mi amor por ti.